Well, there it is. So, a few days ago, I sat down and basically recorded a sort of unscripted discussion with myself about whether or not a female should be cast, or not a female, God, I sound like an alien, a woman should be cast in the role of the Doctor. And I sort of, I gave arguments that I felt could be made for it, I spoke about arguments that could be made against it, and I spoke about my personal feelings about it. And then, 2 days ago, BBC says, after Wimbledon, we will be announcing the 13th Doctor. And so I sat down and basically ignored tennis for about, an hour and a half, until I look up from my phone to see a hooded figure walking across my screen. And I hear the lingering voice of the news reporter, or whoever it was, saying, the 13th Doctor, and I go, oh, okay. And I watch it, and lo and behold, Jodie... Fucking, I've forgotten her name. Was it Jodie Whittaker? If it's not, then that's really bad. Jodie, her name was definitely Jodie, and they've cast a woman in the part of the Doctor. I mean, it felt like it was coming. The way, I wasn't sure whether or not Moffat was just, sending it up a bit, but Chris Chibnall would step in and kind of go, no. But it all seemed to be leading up to it, and it happened. And I suppose I'm going to give my thoughts. And some people may agree with me, some people may have a, just be like a fair enough, have their own opinion, and some people probably won't like what I have to say. First things first, the choice isn't the one I would have made. I can't say what choice I would have made, really, since I wasn't hugely familiar with before. I've never seen Chris Marshall in anything. People like Richie Ayoade, he's great, but I don't think he would have fit in the role correctly. Ben Wishaw's really... I've seen him in Lilting, I've seen him where he voiced Paddington. Those are the two things I've seen in him. I imagine a very Peter Davison-y kind of performance coming out of him, but I don't think he could have played the part. Maybe him. And then what I would love to see just for one episode would be for Matt Berry to, I don't know what kind of, it'd probably be a really either mental or hugely cynical, like in Toast. And whilst I don't think he'd be able to keep it long going, it would be fun just for like a parody or something. Regardless, yeah. The fact that they've cast a woman is something that I disagree with. It's not something I'm happy with. And before we get into all that, let me just say, I'm not saying women are incapable. I'm not saying, a woman wouldn't ever be able to perform the Doctor's role. Oh, God, a woman would be terrible. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying women should be nowhere near the programme. I'm not saying strong women shouldn't be written for the programme. No. I'm saying that the character of the Doctor in the over half a century and 13... maybe possibly even more, really. 13, though, prior faces, if you include John Hurt. All male. In all that time, this character that we've come to know has been a male character. And when you think of the Doctor, you think of, you might think of your favourite actor, but I think of, a certain type of male person, male character. And now, to change all that, to put a big twist, a big mix-up on it, it feels weird to me. I've always had this thing where I think it's almost funny how much it's part of Doctor Hull. Oh god, I don't want to watch that. It's almost part of Doctor Who culture at this point for the whole woman thing. Like, you know, every time in the like recent years when the Doctor's regenerated, it's been, oh, I want to see, you know, the top 5 women who could take over the role of the Doctor. You know, they bring up names like Tilda Swinton and so forth. You know, the woman from Fleabag, and I must sound so awful because I can't remember the names of these people. I haven't read too many of these lists, and I'm not too familiar with Marvel movies or Fleabag, so I don't actually know the actresses' names. But you know, I know several people brought up who were very popular choices, and you know, you've had these kind of discussions, you know, going back even in the 40th anniversary. I think Colin Baker, I can't remember who he names, but he names someone that a woman for the part of the Doctor. I'm fairly certain. If not, then I've messed that up. I'll show the clip if he does.
I nominate Dawn French.
And of course, in 1999 we had Curse of Fatal Death, the parody written by Stephen Moffat, where on screen we get I think probably the first, you know, woman Doctor. And of course it's a parody and, you know, it's a funny, cheesy thing, but that was like that was at least the first time I could think of it happening on screen. And I can't think of when it happened before that or when it was brought up. But it's become such a it's this massive thing now, and it's funny, isn't it? Kind of how much of a thing the Doctor being female has become, purely because the character, for the sake of ensuring the show could continue after William Hartnell was too ill to continue it. This fact that the character's able to change every cell in his body is now, oh, well, we can change. Why not a woman? You know, that's now been brought up, and that's now this, like, yes, because he can change, why not a woman? Why not this? Why not that? And I'm losing track of my thoughts, really. It is kind of funny, and now it's happened. It's happened. I mean, things I expect to happen. I expect the first episode will probably get mental viewing figures. Because let's face it, this thing is not just going to reach Doctor Who fans, it's going to reach the public, it's going to go... People are going to be talking about this. People are going to say, you know, they've cast a woman for the Doctor. Because even to people who, you know, stopped watching after David Tennant left, even to people who never watched the revival or never watched the show at all, I think the whole fact of the Doctor being a woman, is such a pop culture thing that you will just get the average Joes on the street going, they've cast a woman. And I feel like the first episode will get it's going to get loads of attention, basically, in the media. So that, I mean, that's good for the BBC, from their point of view. See, what I always have to get... Peter Davison. I keep saying Davison. Peter Davison, he's been asked this question. It's there's two particular clips from two different... One was a Q&A and one was an interview, in which he talks about this topic. And he, it's funny, this is almost like Britain's version of the whole female Ghostbusters thing, but he talks about how he feels that, you know, as a fan, as a viewer, he feels like the Doctor is male. The Doctor is a male character, and he even brought up the fact that the way the show's written now, it's almost you've got a more vulnerable, fallible male Doctor with a stronger, more kind of headstrong female companion.
It is very much so. What you have with the modern Doctors is a slightly unsure, uncertain, troubled Doctor with a very strong female companion. And it seems to me if you reverse that, if you have an uncertain, a troubled or a fallible female Doctor with a really strong male companion, you've got more of a stereotype than anything else.
I suppose that then, you know, begs the question of how will they write this new series? Will they have a female companion? Will they have a male companion? How will they write it? Will they have a more vulnerable male companion? Will the Doctor be written as another vulnerable character? Will they be written as a stronger, more kind of headstrong? How will they handle that? So that's definitely an interesting point. And Peter said he's absolutely fine with the concept of female Time Lords, or Time Ladies, as they refer to in the classic series. And, we see Romana is, obviously one. You've got the Doctor's daughter, played by Peter Davison's own daughter, who's now married to David Tennant. So that's kind of funny, isn't it? It's David Tennant's favourite Doctor. David Tennant got with the Doctor's daughter, who played the Doctor's daughter. And I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other mess.
I've nothing against a female Time Lord. In fact, my daughter, who was in an episode with David Tennant, was in fact a Time Lord. And at the end of her story, she flew off into the universe, at the moment never to be seen again. So let's bring her back.
And he, Peter jokingly said, why not bring my daughter back into the show? So you can. He's not against females being in the show, especially well-written female characters and female Time Lords. But in his mind, he feels like the Doctor is a male character. He's a male role model. He's someone for, young boys to look up to.
Over the years, I've met lots and lots of fans who men, boys particularly, obviously, who think that the Doctor has been, for them, a greatly supportive role model. And I think that's very important. I think boys of that age actually need a really good role model, and the Doctor is a perfect role model.
It is that kind of thing of, I always have to, when they started, I don't know I think it was Marvel, and I'm not sure if DC did it as well, but when they started redoing all of their old superheroes as now women, they got like the female Iron Man and the female Thor or whatever. When they started doing that and bringing all that together, you got that kind of sense of, okay, why not just create an original new, rather than taking an already established character and flipping it on its head? Why not just create a new, original, well-written, well-developed, well-rounded character? Why not continue the tradition of a male Doctor, but have a really solid, excellently written female companion? The only reason I can think of it, the only reason I think they aim for that is name recognition. It's the shock factor. Everyone goes, oh, what have you done? And it's the name recognition. It's the, it's Thor, but it's the female Thor. Let's watch. We know who Thor is, rather than if they made I've got to think of Akita, the, female super cat or something, If they made that, people would go, well, what's that? I don't know what that is. And there's not that already established fan base. And I suppose it is like, if you want to create a show with a strong female character to look, and I'm just going to be on, I feel like we have shows. I'm not saying there's an abundance of shows. I can't comment personally, but we have shows with female leads in them. And kids shows, because Doctor Who is, it's aimed at families and, kids, as a partial influence. And so you do get, you can get kids shows structured around female leads. And it's sort of how, if it is about getting that female role model in there and getting that, female look girl, someone for you to look up to, why not, why not a new IP? I mean, it's probably because the money and the banking on it and the development, and it's not gonna. It's all gonna be things about money and grabbing people's attention, and it's easier to just throw out, a gender bend, character rather than working on something truly original. And Peter, in one of them, he said he thought it was funny how people always ask him for his opinion on, when people ask him for his opinion on a female Doctor, he will give his opinion, and people will then go, ooh, what? And he'll be like, wait, you asked for my opinion, and I've given you my opinion, and now you're disagreeing with me. He was like, is it meant to be a test? Am I meant to say, oh, yes, definitely a female Doctor?
Now, I don't know quite why it evokes, because people ask me, do you think my opinion? I give my opinion. Is it a question or is it a test? I mean, if I say, I think the Doctor is born a man, should be a man. Then as I'm entitled to think that, as you are, or anybody else here, is to say that it could be a woman, and that's fine.
And it sort of, I mean, I'm more of a fan of the classic series than the new series. And when I watch certain, like Patrick Troughton is my favourite Doctor, and when I watch Patrick Troughton, and even when I watch William Hartnell and all of them, it is that kind of thing of you get this certain mould, this certain flavour of character, and for it to be, you kind of have to think, how would that carry over? Is it right? It just. And something doesn't feel, when I look at William Hartnell and I look at the original pitch of the show, for me to then think the Doctor's then going to be played by, a 20-something, maybe early 30s, female, woman, and a female actress, or what, I don't know what the whole actress-actor thing is anymore, but, when you look at that, it's like, something for me, as a long-term fan, and a primarily classic fan, maybe some people will call me bigoted. It doesn't sit right with me personally. And, I'm not going to comment. The writing could be fantastic, and Jodie could be absolutely fantastic in the role. They've never cast someone who's been appalling. They've always knocked it out of the park and just put a real good performance in. So, she could be great. So I'm not disagreeing with her. I'm not going to say she's going to be bad. I'm not saying the show's going to be bad. And all I'm saying is the concept, the idea, doesn't sit with me. And it's going to be a point in Doctor Who's history. I don't know if it will continue, if another woman will take over after this, if it will go, male to woman, if it will then go back to male. It's going to be a really interesting point in Doctor Who's history. This one bit. Or this, I can't say one bit, but this bit, the first time they cast a female actress, 50, how many years are we? 54 years? Nearly 54 years after technically 55 when she debuts, properly, after the original series started. And it's just gonna be that point where you're gonna have the line of the Doctors, and at the end, there's going to be Jodie. And now the only thing I'm going to say to the other side is Michelle Gomez. When Michelle Gomez, when it was, I can't keep calling myself the Master, I think people like me, Matthew Toffolo, who runs the channel Batman March. Matthew, I don't know if you're watching this, I love your stuff. It feels weird to think I've now surpassed you in subscribers, even though I've been watching you, I think, coming up to 10 years now. I've been watching you. Like you said, you were like, you didn't like it. You didn't like the choice. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. And, as time went on, Michelle Gomez, I really grew to like her. And in World and Time Enough, the episode 11 of Series 10, I thought she was hilarious. I loved how she was eating up the scenery and just her part. She was like such a great antithesis to, that was awkwardly said. Like the Doctor, is all serious and stuff, and she's just like basically screwing around, and she's funny. And I think she was a really great character. Whether or not I can connect her to Delgado's original Master, when you look, I think this is what it always is. You go back to the original thing and you go, that is the same character, and you kind of go, if Michelle Gomez was like the Rani, who, if you don't know who that was a almost a female, I'm not sure if she was a Time Lord, she might have been, a Master-esque character, yet who was a female and who was an enemy of the Doctor throughout the sort of late 80s of the show's run. Even bearing a resemblance, I'd say, the Rani to Michelle Gomez or Missy. If Michelle Gomez was the Rani, or a similar such character, she should just be a great new character, but she's the Master, and she's brought an interesting dimension to the role, obviously, since her Master is going through an almost a reformation, like a sort of, you see more kind of side. She's not just evil, and she's not like John Sims just going mental. She's like seeming a little more sensitive. And as much as I enjoy her, and she was really fun and really, interesting. And it is that kind of, it's proof that it can be done. It can be carried off. And Jodie may carry it off really well. And it may be the best series of Doctor Who we've had in the revival. Who knows? But it's that connecting to the original character that I struggle to do. And I think I'm going to struggle with this new one. And I'm not sure what's going to come of it. Aside from obviously the effect on everyone, all I can do is really say my personal thoughts on what I make of this news. And I just kind of looked and I was like, oh, well, and I ran straight to my computer to make this long-winded ramble, and I actually blue screened my computer trying to record it because I didn't give my computer a chance to load up first, and I also did kind of smack it a bit. But so yeah, well, okay, we've reached it. That was an awkward run on. We've reached an end point, I think, in this video because it's now 20 minutes long. So I guess we will find out. We'll get our first... Please don't crash Audacity. I can see you're struggling so hard. We'll get our first taste of Jodie come Christmas, and then in 2018 we will see what she's really all about. And then we can see, what she brings to the role and what it will be like. And I hope it was done. I hope the casting is good. I hope the show is written well. I hope Chris Chibnall does a good job and it just carries it. And I hope this isn't done for the sake of shock. I hope it was done for a good, to be a good choice. And it's going to feel weird. And, yeah. I guess all I can say in my heart, heart of hearts, if that's even a phrase, is that I hope we return to a male in the lead. And I'm sorry if that sounds horribly sexist or misogynistic or something. That's not my intention. I'm saying this as, a die-hard fan. I can't comment particularly on the James Bond series. I've only seen one of the films, shamefully. But I suppose it's like a James Bond fan saying, I wouldn't want them to create a new film with a female in the role just because in the past Bond has been played by more than one actor. So yeah, leave your thoughts on this new news in the comments. Thank you for listening. Yeah, goodbye.